កម្មវិធីកិច្ចសន្ទនាកម្ពុជានិងពិភពលោក
Good evening, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second part of this special sort of like dialogue, and I focus this time on digital innovation. You know, how do we get the ecosystem going? How do this ecosystem is supporting young entrepreneurship, young startup, and the first part, which was broadcast last week, is more from the recipient themselves, the entrepreneur. This time is about those who actually have the idea to start the fund and the support structure and everything. So I have three people here that will help us. Thomas Han from Smart Axiata, Bora Kaim from Mekong Strategic Partner, and Charles Chiu from Forte Insurance. But anyway, let's get the formality out of the way. Thomas, a bit about yourself and about Smart Axiata.
Good evening. Thanks, Siphana, for having us. It's a pleasure to be back here. I came here to Cambodia 9 years ago. Started Smart Axiata with, at that time actually Smart, it was not Axiata yet, with a blank piece of paper, just the license and the investors in the background. And we started to build a network, to build the business. 9 years later, from zero to hero, we're the biggest telecom company.
I like that, from zero to hero.
We're the biggest telecom company in the market. A lot of passion, a lot of pain, obviously, also during that journey, but I think it's very rewarding. And it's amazing to see how we have changed Cambodia in a way. Connecting Cambodia is obviously our main factor, but we are now venturing into digital services. We are venturing into building a digital ecosystem, because we at Smart have defined a vision for ourselves, and that is becoming the digital champion of Cambodia by 2020. And that obviously is a big thing for us, which consists of plenty of puzzle pieces. Whereby the core is connecting Cambodia, and then certainly Smart Axiata Digital Innovation Fund is another piece of the puzzle. Smart Music, our content direction, Smart Louis as payments, and we are looking at many areas around obviously the telecom core we have. And we are very excited about the ZADIF prospect, because we believe in building a digital ecosystem in the country will help not only Smart. I mean, that is a nice side effect. But it will help eventually, and for sure, Cambodia to elevate and to drive. We have, I think, a very good situation in Cambodia, in this case, that we don't have so much legacy is helping to build the new stuff. Right?
From scratch.
We are not carrying a big bag of legacy around.
To undo.
Correct. So technology can leapfrog us, and that's what we want to achieve. That's why we have teamed up with Mekong Strategic Partners as the fund manager, and lately welcomed Forte also as a partner to make that vision coming true.
Bora, what's your background?
Good evening. My name is Bora. I am the investment manager at Mekong Strategic Partners, which, as you know, is an investment and advisory firm for the Mekong region. But we're based here.
Quite a young group, right? Because I know all you guys there.
Young at heart, at least.
Young at heart, yes. But how long have Mekong Strategic Partner was established?
About 3 years ago by two former executives at ANZ.
Yes. And yourself, you're coming from also ANZ?
No, the odd man out in the firm. But I was born and raised in Cambodia, went to school in the US for a while. Getting an undergraduate and MBA. And after a decade career in investment management, private equity, and my own startup, decided to come back to Cambodia.
Good man. We need the type of you guys to come back home.
That's right. And that's exactly why I came back, was to play a role in the development of Cambodia for the next generation.
That's awesome.
And so working with SADIF, it's exactly why, part of the reason why I come back was to help
and plus, you can relate to your potential prospect there.
That's right.
From that perspective. Yeah, good. Charles?
Yes, good evening. I'm Charles Chiu from Forte Insurance. I'm the CEO. Forte Insurance started in 1999, so I've been here since 1998. So relatively seen the entire spectrum of Cambodia's development.
Yes.
I must say it's been a very, very challenging ride. When we started, the national premium was about less than $1 million. Right now, you're talking about $75 million in national premium. So it's very challenging. We're always looking at new ways to do things, to deliver products to the masses, rather than your corporate consumers. I think with this bridging this digital divide would be a great way in which we can deliver insurance in a very innovative way.
Well, Thomas, you start this fund, okay? It's quite clear that you have a certain vision how, this fund can help stimulate this young entrepreneur, But basically, how do you see the core focus of this fund?
But as the name says, it's a digital innovation fund, right? So we are looking at tech businesses, we are looking at digital businesses. We have defined a couple of areas we want to explore, and those areas are certainly related to what Smart is doing, namely being a telecom company. So it's about fintech, it's about entertainment, content proposition, it's about commerce, it's about logistic, it's about software. So those areas,
basically, these are all the
areas
what
we want to explore.
would be these are the various services that are sprung out of the digital world, right?
Correct. I mean, the areas which make actually a digital economy functioning, right? And that is a very diverse set of things you need to look at. But wherever technology can play a role, I mean, in theory, technology can play a role now everywhere. But we are looking obviously at the hardcore technology pieces and the software businesses, the digital components of a digital economy. And in this case, yes, we have defined the area relatively widely. I mean, Internet of Things is a certain area we are looking at. But I mean, in general, it's all pieces of the puzzle to build a digital economy and digital society.
Yeah, Charles, what made you decide to team up with Smart Axiata, your insurance company?
Yeah.
What is the motivating factor there?
Well, first thing is, I think being a CEO, I'm quite young at heart. I'm not a millennial, but it's always trying to do things better. If you look at the average young kid here who goes through university, if he spends his weekend or her weekends just thinking of better ways to do things, and technology is that enabler to make things seamless, make things better, and they could just do it without much capital. Just a great idea.
Okay.
And that is the brilliant thing about this industry. Yes.
So it's not necessarily relating to your industry per se.
Yes.
Okay, now I understand, because I thought for a moment, what does insurance industry play in this innovation fund? So it's purely a reinvestment of some of the premium into the local economy. I think this is great, because for a long time, this is the biggest challenge for the insurance industry, particularly for the regulator.
Right.
How do you ensure that the money, the premium collected, I reinvest in the local economy?
Correct.
Right? Yeah. So okay, great. So now I understand where things
I
come.
hate to use the word CSR, but it's an overused word. It's just something that we believe in.
Yes. And plus, I think there are, adequate opportunity for replowing the investment here. That's good. From the Mekong Strategic Partner, I will ask you first and then to Boran later. Why you choose them to be the what you call the fund manager there?
Well, I mean, when we came up with the idea to create that fund, we were looking out in the market. Okay, who could actually run the funds?
Okay.
I mean, we are in Smart not the ones to run such an investment fund per se, right? I mean, for such a venture, you need professional, fully focused, experienced people to manage and run such a show.
Yeah.
Honestly, there are not so many firms in Cambodia having that capability.
Yes.
So, I mean, the question was, should we reach out and bringing somebody in from overseas? The drawback would be zero local expertise, zero oversight on the market, no network either. Versus going for a local firm, and when we screened the market on who could eventually become the fund manager, MSP was standing out. The expertise
local knowledge
MSP has is unprecedented in Cambodian market, and that's why I think it was a very logical choice. And at the end of the day, to pick MSP and to entrust them with that quite unique proposition so far. I mean, it's the first tech VC venture capital fund in Cambodia. We are exploring again new territories, and so far I think the journey since we teamed up, we went public and announced the first investees, and bringing 40 on board has been very exciting, and I think it's moving very much into the right direction. So that's why we are all in. We're very happy.
Mora, what do you bring in at the table?
So first, we sort of had a hunch that the tech sector will take off at some point. But if you were to go to the market a few years ago and say that there's a VC tech fund in Cambodia,
people would say,
they would at least politely
have some doubt.
Doubt. That's right. And so I'm sitting amongst the biggest insurance in Cambodia and the biggest telecom company in Cambodia. So there's that faith that the industry will evolve to that point. And so, normally when you raise a fund, you have to prove to the source of capital that there's a number of projects that already, you're ready to go. But to have the faith of these two companies saying, okay, we believe the idea, let's go out and work together in terms of doing that.
Well, I mean, in terms of expertise contribution, what do you bring into the prospective, fundee, really?
So there's a few layers to that. One is we have to institutionalize the process.
Okay.
So, as opposed to angel investing, which you spoke about last week, tends to be informal.
Okay.
How do you make decisions? But here at MSP, we design a process that is very stringent, very tough on due diligence.
Okay, that's very good.
Everyone is based off of meritocracy.
Yes.
There's no favoritism being played.
Yes, very
and
good.
of course, as a lawyer, you would appreciate that we do everything by the book.
Yes.
With legal arrangements.
Yes.
Forth. So that process is very much the infrastructure by which we go out and
very sound structure, right? Corporate governance, that sort of thing.
And we also see ourselves working with the startup teams from the time we write a check to the time that they're growing into a different phase.
So you sit on the board of all the sort of like a fundee, right?
That's right. So at least one member of MSP or the investment committee.
That, to me, I think it also shows the maturity of the local economy as well. And you all know, I mean, Charles was in 98. I mean, many of these entrepreneurs are truly entrepreneurs. You just, with a piece of paper, I bought so much, I sell so much. But then you see what I try to explain to many people who come from outside to say that what I see is the two is like a chart, right? You have a decline of the old tycoon, and then you have the rise of young entrepreneur.
Sure.
And then in that chart, if you superimpose another layer, you'll see another factor that the tycoon who are open enough to allow their kid, whom they have sent to study abroad, to come back and take over the business, will see it going up, right? So that chart, instead of maturing going down, they have a big bump like that. Then you have the other tycoon who still hang on the old-fashioned way. I'm still the father, I raise you kids. You should be grateful. I marry you to that girl there, whatever. Shut up, listen to me, right? The kids are struggling. They're educated, they know the business, they're struggling, right? And you sort of see a certain stagnation there, right? So I think this is quite interesting that now you have people who see corporate governance as a standard. It's all right, I want to pay tax, I want to have a proper documentation, and it's part of doing business. Anyway, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue this very interesting discussion. Right? Well, okay, I turn to Bora first. Last week we have 3 entrepreneurs who received the first funding from your side. What make you pick them among many other? What stand out? Why them?
Yeah, so typically we look at essentially 5 things: the team,
okay,
the product technology, the scalability, the marketability, and the market size for that matter,
okay,
and what can they bring to the market. So with these 3 guys, I think what's so unique about them is that there is, when you meet them, there is a spark, that there is a certain ambition that they have.
The human factor.
Yep. And then they are not afraid to just do it.
Okay.
And that's what I think stands out amongst the many startups that we look at.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we are still looking quite a robust list of people as well. So these happen to be the first batch, but they're not, the only one and stuff.
So the human drive, the spirit there
That's
is
right.
there. Okay, the can-do attitude, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
so we often ask, why are these people doing what they're doing? But the other important question is, why not? Why not build, a logistics system that's not in place? Why not build a media company that could tap into the rest of the world market? Okay. Why not build a better product that meets the demand of the current marketplace?
Okay. So that the human factor. But on the technology side, what would be your criteria to pick them, for example?
Yeah, so we get asked this question a lot, and oftentimes, what we see in the market is that the innovation in the place of technology, which you spoke about, is in the execution. How do people really use technology in this market, in this context, to, buy things, to, build a better business? So that's the innovation. How do you execute better than,
So what you're trying to say is technology is just a technology that is readily available, right? It's how this entrepreneur there was able to use that platform for their particular business.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's not something like so sophisticated you need a high-tech guy from Silicon Valley or something.
There is a lot of resources out there that allows startups to build good, viable products.
Okay.
But we've spoke earlier about how Cambodia has gone a long way, and so some of the technology innovation, just pure, pure progress of technology. There's a bit of shortage here, to be frank. But in the future there will be others that is able to catch the gap, close the gap.
Thomas, from Smart as a system, right? I mean, I think Smart have all this infrastructure, this ecosystem, this technological backbone there, right? If I can say it. How do you see them? I mean, applying them into such a micro level, right? Because you guys are macro, right? Then you're down to a very micro ecosystem right there. How do you make that linkage? How do you relate to such a micro level?
Well, synergy between those investees and Smart is a nice add-on in a way, but it is not mandatory in a way. It's not a criteria which has to be ticked off. I mean, it's a plus point, but it's not a must. So I mean, looking at the 3 investees, Aniva probably, I don't see immediate synergy. I mean, what Aniva made us really excited about is the fact that they picked Cambodia as the home base for starting venturing out to the world, right? I mean, this business you could run from anywhere in the world, maybe even from a cruise ship if you would like to. If you have enough space for exploring those printers.
Yes,
But they picked Cambodia as the place to start that business and to venture out, because actually in Aniva's case, probably the least amount of customers are actually in Cambodia. The majority of customers are overseas.
Yes, interesting.
So here it's a little different spin to it.
Yes.
Junak, on the other hand side, is very much looking into, here we see a lot of synergy. We are planning to venture out into e-commerce on our own. Why not to deliver the phones to the customers when they buy it online, right?
Yeah.
Or even the SIM cards. In theory, if a customer wants to pick a SIM card, a special number, and wants to get it delivered to their home, well, Junak is the perfect instrument at the end of the day, also for us to venture into e-commerce. Moracot, well, as a software player, that core banking system for MFIs. Well, of course, for us, fintech is very high on the agenda. We believe fintech is making a big difference in the future, and in a way, having more insights also how MFIs are working and thinking is for us of big essential. So, from that perspective, those three first investees have edges which we thought, wow, that is standing out, and synergizing with Smart is a plus, but it's not a must. So when we are looking at the ecosystem, and we had obviously long conversations in the investment committee when Bora and the MSP team presented the opportunities, we were actually quite amazed about the long list of potential.
So this is the first batch.
It's the first batch.
This is the first batch.
But look, we pledged a fund size of $5 million.
Okay.
And we declared the investment amounts will be between $100,000 and $500,000.
Okay.
So if we are going for an average of $250,000, for example, we would be able to make 20 investments, right? So this is a long process, and due diligence, screening, setting up governance structures takes time. That's why we need to be very diligent at the end of the day. The first three we are very happy, and now we're working on the next investees to come, and they're really cutting across various areas of digital economy and tech.
I'm very excited to hear what you mentioned about Aniva, right? Because I thought for a moment that they are locally based. When he mentioned 3D, I asked, geez, what is 3D? Because not many people understand 3D, particularly in Cambodia. But then now you say no. The end game is not the local economy here. Is that he could start from a cruise ship, as far as you're concerned, which is great because it sort of put Cambodia somewhere in cyberspace, global cyberspace, right? Because I always say that when way back when we negotiate WTO, we have a bit of complexion of I wouldn't say of inferiority, mainly because we're post-crisis. We start from zero base. It's a bit, challenging, mindset-wise, right? To go to WTO to deal with the big country. They say, my God, what an up, it's like stiff cliff to climb, right? Under traditional economy, physical economy. And certainly this digital thing is completely throw out this thing out. We have new dynamics. Hey, look, man, there's no cliff to climb, and you are as good as me. And if I have a good, IT infrastructure, telecom infrastructure, I could take off.
Yes.
This is a good example.
You'll be very surprised. You look at the young Cambodians. Before Uber or Grab came in, there were already local similar apps before they came in.
Yes.
So they're really fast to adopt something and to make it local. Give the young people really more credit. They're really dynamic.
Yes. Yeah. So that's why I think when we joined the ASEAN Economic Community, when the ASEAN Economic Community was realized a couple of years ago, a lot of people asked me, say, what's going to happen? Is it like a magic wand, right? Cambodia transform? I say no, it's a work in progress. But the point is that now you should not look at Cambodia as Cambodia. You guys should be thinking of ASEAN as a whole. Yeah. And I think only through digital thing that you can have that ambition, Yeah. Because in a physical thing it's a bit hard, You have a coffee. Yeah, the Laotian can have his own coffee. The Myanmar can have coffee. It's a bit challenging, right? To move, physical stuff there, whatever. But here, what Support is doing, he could easily emulate in Myanmar, right? With this microfinance sort of thing. And why not Africa, for that matter?
True. Absolutely.
Good. So, Bora, your expectation in a few years from now, how do you see, from the long list of potential prospects that will benefit from there? I mean, Thomas say, at most we're going to have 20, but I'm pretty sure if it's successful, there's going to be some reinvestment. How do you see that?
We wish we could invest in all of them. Quite frankly, if there's enough capital in the world to really supercharge everyone, make sure that everyone is well funded, we would do that. But I think the question is, what would a success look like for the fund?
Okay.
And namely, this is an asset class that's has a lot of risk in it.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking about investing in technology, let alone a technology in a market that is still, getting to know the process and to know what the market is like. So success, I think, is that there are a number of companies that we invest in will survive and thrive, and that not only makes us successful as an investor, or Smart and Forte as proud parents, so to speak, but they will also catalyze other players within the market, within the ecosystem.
Yes.
So there's that
second generation spin-off.
That's right.
Okay.
And I think an even more ambitious goal is that now once people see that Cambodia is capable of doing that, other countries will see us not as the image they have in our head, but the new a new standard for what ASEAN is.
Well, I would say that to me, from a Cambodia perspective, in the ASEAN 10, right? You always have this dream in a way that someday, we could be at par, Because in ASEAN, we always talk about the digital divide, the development divide, right? Yes. The ASEAN 6, ASEAN 4, now the latest thing is the CLMVT, including Thailand. Vietnam never want to be part of that V because they think that they should be with the 6, So it's a lot of this reshuffling of this acronym, right? But it's interesting is you notice, look at the investment opportunity. We are nonetheless the emerging market. So the fact that you're the ASEAN 4, the laggard who joined the system, it doesn't mean you don't have opportunity. Absolutely. So this is quite interesting. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about what are the other opportunity that the fund can really drive this economy. Employment opportunity is very important for me. Well, I'll turn to you, Thomas. What is your expectation? Okay, I hope it's not stopping at 25 entrepreneur.
We have two major objectives. On the one hand side is establishing digital economy in Cambodia, and for Smart obviously also to learn from all these investees, because in the digital economy, in digital ecosystem, one thing is for sure, one company can never do everything at once. So we are also from an technology perspective very eager to learn from the new things coming up. And the beauty in tech world indeed is that you don't need necessarily to reinvent the wheel all the time. Technology is out there, and as Paul correctly said, it's very much about execution. Execution, how to apply technology then into the local market, into the environment. And for us as a telecom company, in a way, compared to those entrepreneurs, we are probably a big ship already. We can't move as fast and agile, even if we want to, and that's what we want to at the end of the day achieve. But we are more a big ship compared to those very agile and fast speedboats, right? So it means having investments and a say at the end of the day also in those companies will hopefully allow us to learn as well and to inherit certain ideas as well as pieces of technology also back to Smart, and then rolling it out and making those investees driving the market and making in a way relationship between Smart business and those investees. If there is a return of invest at the end of the day, of course it is a nice catch at the end, but it would literally be a consequence. If we are able to make those investees successful and scaled up businesses, then obviously the returns are a consequence of it, right? And look, I mean, if we are successful with 20, 25 investees, and if we are building those businesses to critical size, I mean, Cambodia is benefiting dramatically from it by having tech players, digital players who are working the market and solving problems of the society, which in traditional manner we might not be able to solve, such as the logistics problem. Or in e-commerce, the payment and cash portion, or potentially making insurances relating back to Forte available to everywhere in the country, not just limited to physical branch offices, right? So I mean, there is a lot of things we believe, if we are making those businesses, those investees successful, and we are not just giving money, expertise, governance, exposure. I mean, that they are presenting themselves here is, I mean, a value obviously which they probably on standalone basis would not be able to achieve either. And as a result, if we can scale them, the cash, the expertise, etc., then we are ultimately achieving the objectives. And it's a longer journey. We're not expecting that from one day to another we have a boom. But if ultimately 1 or 2 or 5 of those investees becoming regional players and really standing out, well, I mean, potentially it's also jackpot for us as the investors and for the fund.
Charles, what's your expectation?
Well, if you look at the regionally, I mean, this digital economy is very much a 5-year phenomenon. I mean, you look at Indonesia, you look at Singapore, everyone's saying startup. So actually, Cambodia is not way behind, right? We're just starting the process in Asia. So what's very interesting is to just get things done better in a better way. For example, the postal service in Cambodia, non-existent. As a corporate, I cannot mail invoices, I cannot mail bills, I cannot communicate through direct mailers. If someone could find a way to solve that through technology, that will be just a simple example of what it can do. Yes.
Bra, what's your expectation?
So, I often work with college students and through incubation programs like Smart Start, which we should talk about at some point. But I've always tried to tell them, look, the future is already here, right? The things that you see in Singapore will come here. You know, the way that other people are consuming things or, using technology, you've seen it done elsewhere, and it's only a matter of time before they come here. So how do they set up themselves as entrepreneurs to take advantage of that, right? And tech is one of those things where you could really run faster to catch up with the rest of the world. So that's one. I think there's going to be a mindset shift amongst the young people wanting to play a role within this ecosystem. That's number one. Number two is that in some ways we're ahead. So when I look at smart subscriber base, there's going to be millions and millions of people who will experience and use the internet for the first time through their smartphones. But how will they take advantage of that, right? More developed countries might not necessarily have an insight on that, but we do. So that's one area where we think we could run faster in tapping that usage cases.
Well, you mentioned about the future. I can help. I just learned a new quote a couple of days ago at Club Med. One of a speakers say, "The future is like heaven. Everybody want to go there, except not today." So, yeah, that's good. But we're running out of time, so I want to ask you, a few last questions, which I did ask the young entrepreneur also. We're talking. I think we did touch a bit. You did touch a bit on that on the ecosystem. But how would you like to see the government do on top of what currently existing to ensure that we have a conducive ecosystem that can spur, that can push, that can, catalyze, faster growth in the digital economy, right? Of course, we have a draft e-commerce law, which has been there for so many years already. I stopped counting. I don't know when it's going to come out. But we have a telecom law already in place. So these are the soft side, right? The software side. But in terms of the hardware side, what are the things that you think need to be to put Cambodia in a regional competitive map? And also on the policy side, what else you guys to support things that you are doing, that are needed? What are the three things that software, hardware, and policy, including regulation, of course? Yeah. Maybe I start with you, Thomas.
Well, it's nearly Christmas, so we can put a wish list up.
All right. Wish list, but give me something in the box that I can use tomorrow.
Well, there are quite a few things which I believe would enable the digital economy driving even faster than it does. On the one hand side, of course, from a pure telecom perspective, everything starts with connectivity, super fast, reliable connectivity. We have established that de facto in Cambodia. We are ahead of Vietnam, Laos in 4G adoption, and networks are quite resilient. So we are quite there in this aspect. But looking ahead 2-3 years from now, I'm a little scared that the data drive is going through the roof so much that at the moment with lack of spectrum not being made available fast enough, with a somewhat very shaky industry at the moment, we are embarking into a price war. We are middle of a price war where the industry has to question itself: is it actually sustainable? We are doing. Good for the consumers, of course, but 10 gigabyte for $1 is, I think, unprecedented worldwide. So there are a couple of things which need to be played out in the next couple of months and quarters, probably very well, that we are ensuring that connectivity layer is getting really advanced and stays on top of it. Because looking ahead, video, immersive videos, 4K, virtual reality will consume data speeds and consume data bandwidth, which will be a big challenge for the industry to deploy. On a legislation or regulation perspective, well, there are quite a few things which have been kicked, right? Okay. Telecom law,
yes,
done.
Yeah.
Is it now the best of laws? Well, we can debate it,
yes.
But at least there is a law.
Yeah.
Yes, there is e-commerce law pending. I think that is setting somewhat a scene. But realistically speaking, when looking at building a digital ecosystem and digital economy, I would not be I would not make too much fuss about this e-commerce law.
Okay.
Because in a way, the industry is always ahead of legislation.
Okay.
And in a way, especially the young entrepreneurs and the digital entrepreneurs, give them freedom.
Yes.
Set boundaries which are relatively wide and not too narrow, because then we can't move, right?
Yes. Okay.
So if there is no e-commerce law,
the better.
Eventually there has to be an e-commerce law, of course, to set certain boundaries, to make sure the businesses are running in a trustworthy manner, that consumers have trust. That
more from the trust factor.
More from the trust
consumer
factor.
Protection.
Consumer protection
trust
factor.
Perspective. But set boundaries rather wide. Because we actually don't know in which direction things go. It's so fast, so agile. I think nobody on this planet actually can project 5 years from now. Even, right? If you look at Silicon Valley, what's going on? The iPhone is just 10 years old, right, this year, and how much it has changed the world. So if you are setting too strict regulations, it would probably limit the development. So I'm not so much into that one. There's obviously one aspect as well which is key going forward, that is the human capital. where a lot of work has to be done still in Cambodia. I mean, obviously we see good progression.
Yes.
The universities are increasing their output of ICT talents. Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport, I mean, they have done a lot in the last term in terms of overhauling educational system. But we all know, I mean, that will not change from one year to another. It's a matter of generations, right? So to really drive digital mindset, starting from the youngsters, coding has to be de facto become part of a curriculum, and not just in university. It should be actually part of curriculum in
high school,
and maybe even in starting from the first grade.
Wow.
I mean, that's what at least in many jurisdictions or many countries being spoken about. So driving this coding ability, driving the digital mindset from the start, critical thinking of the people, solution orientation. These are the things which probably have to be fostered a bit further. If those things come together, I'm quite optimistic.
That's great.
We are moving.
Charles, your last word.
I think education's the most fundamental thing. Being from Singapore, it's it's just smacked into us. I think Excellency Dr. Narawan has done a great job in reforming education. When we started, Forte, everyone wanted to be a banking and finance graduate, but the world's changed. The world's changed. Have a look at more in the ICT realm, data scientists. These are the jobs of the future. Polytechnics. Giving people technical skills might also help, I think.
Sam?
So, I mean, I don't claim.
Somehow.
I don't claim to be an expert on the matter of the law, but I do appreciate the challenges that regulators have to face in order to predict the future. But some of the concerns we've heard from entrepreneurs in general tend to be one of two things. One is intellectual property. Can they protect what they build?
Yes.
And that's also very important for
Yes.
investors as well.
Yes.
If you invest in something, can that be protected?
Yes.
Number two is in terms of setting up costs. Startups have very little resources with a lot of risk in terms of business model. So are there incentives that allow them to freely get started before certain things come into play, like high taxes or expensive costs, things like that?
Well, I let me wrap up by saying that perhaps you in this digital world, what's happening currently in Cambodia, you are comfortable enough that without additional regulation for now, it should be okay. If you have to have regulation, from what you say, Charles, it's more from the perspective of consumer protection, not necessarily regulating the industry itself. It's more about giving that space for entrepreneur, for innovator to start thinking of ideas that they should not be hampered by very restrictive regulation. I'm a lawyer, so I always think that you can interpret either way. You can interpret narrowly or expensively, right? So in your industry, think expensive. Number two, the challenge of human resource, right? So it's more how the government can start, moving to get the student to start appreciating the role of IT, of science, of STEM, science, technology, engineering and math, something like this at the early stage, right? So that when they grow up, they already speak the language, right?
Yes.
I like the idea of starting the coding at early young age, right?
Absolutely.
And the last point that Bora, you mentioned, which is music to my ear, is intellectual property protection, right? And to me, when we negotiated WTO, I can tell you that we are very proud to be the country that have adhered to the three core, intellectual property law, right? Trademark, the patent, and then the copyright. These are the core ones. We have other, but in your area, I've been talking to quite a lot of specialists. It's still something that hard to sort of grasp, right? Because the technology is evolving so fast. the knowledge skill behind that it's quite sophisticated, and it's not really available in Cambodia. Like Samsung, Apple, every day they're filing patent all the time, right? Patent infringement, but this required very advanced skill in terms of lawyering, in terms of patent, but it's okay. At some point we will catch up. But the main thing now, I could conclude by saying that the system is adequate enough to allow the industry to prosper. Can I say that?
So. Yes, definitely.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming.
Most welcome.
It's such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay, Bora, good luck. Okay, for you.
Thank you, sir.
And welcome back home. Okay.
Yes. Welcome back home.
All right. Well, we're coming to the end of this 2-part series, and I'm not going to bother summarizing because it's so rich in substance. And I just hope that you eventually will have to watch a few more time on YouTube. So hopefully you can catch some of the good idea from there. And I really encourage other entrepreneurs to start thinking, how do they can get involved in this digital space. And because ultimately the more they involve, the more they can create jobs, the more they can support the economy, and the more they can help Cambodia being an active player in the ASEAN economic community per se. So on that note, good learning and good innovation and good entrepreneurship. Good night.